Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 78 of the Hey Everybody podcast, officially. I think I said 78 last week and I was wrong. It was 77. We're up to 78 now. My name is Christopher Gold. Very happy to be here, particularly because I was sick as a dog last week. Like I mentioned on the podcast last week, I wasn't feeling very good, and that just got worse and worse. The cough is kind of hanging around, as is like the plugged up ear part, but the fatigue has finally started to wane a little bit. Um, I dealt with some of the worst fatigue I've ever felt in my life. It's crazy. It felt like a heroic journey just to like get to the kitchen to get some water or something. And that's finally gone away. I was at the doctor on Sunday because they were thinking it sounded an awful lot like COVID. So they gave me like a real deal official doctor test, and it's not COVID, which is cool. And they gave me some advice on over the counter stuff I can try, and it's all been working out really, really well. I'm starting to feel really good. Um, it was funny though, for the first time in my life, when I was sick, when I'm like stuck on the couch and I can't breathe and I can't hear and I can't talk and I can't move, for the first time in my life, that whole at least you have your health thing really struck me. That like it sounds cliched, but in that moment there wasn't much I wouldn't have done to get my health back. And it was interesting to think about it while I was sick, because I had a lot of time to think. And coming out of it, I really am trying to hold on to like the appreciation and the gratitude for like being able to talk without hacking up a lung, or being able to exercise, or whatever. I'm feeling really good right now, even though I'm not totally out of the woods just yet. I'm feeling really good. The other thing I've been thinking about is having a drink of this coffee. It's very hot. It's going to burn me. I can tell. Yep, that's hot coffee. The other thing I've been thinking about is this story I heard about this old farmer, and he has this horse that runs off, and all the villagers go like, "Oh, what a shame, your horse ran off." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And then the next day, these 7 wild horses just show up at his place, and all the villagers go, "Oh, what good fortune. You have 7 new horses." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And then the next day, his son is trying to break in one of the horses. He gets bucked off. He breaks his arm. And all the villagers go, "Oh, what a shame. Your son broke his arm." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And then the next day, the military comes around because there's a draft, and they're taking all the able-bodied sons, and they leave the farmer's son behind because he's got this busted arm. And all the villagers go, "Oh, what good fortune. Your son's not going to war." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And the moral of that is, of course, like the reality of our situation oftentimes can't be seen until we're several situations removed from it. And I had this opportunity come up yesterday, and you have opportunities come up throughout your life, and choices you can make and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of times we're committed to this idea of like, I need to figure out if this is a good thing or a bad thing, and if I should do this or that. And what I get from that sort of fable is that maybe there aren't good and bad things. I mean, obviously there's bad stuff, but as far as like the things that are visited upon us that are out of our control, we don't really have any way of knowing if it'll be worked for the good long term or the bad long term. But I think in my life, I have found that things either work for the good or they sort of fade away, as long as I'm taking the like, yeah, maybe approach. And again, of course, we live in a world where you have to specify like there is tragedy and there is injustice, and that's bad stuff, unequivocally. People often find good in that stuff and they work it for the good and that kind of thing. But I'm not here to paint everything rosy and wonderful just because I feel like I'm not at death's door for the first time in a week. But it alleviates a lot of the pressure when I'm trying to make this decision about if I want to take this opportunity or not. Uh, because I'm no longer treating this opportunity as if it's like a capital O opportunity, if it's my one shot, if I do this thing and it works, oh my gosh, or if I do this thing and it doesn't work, oh my gosh. It's just a thing that has come up. And I know I'm being vague, but the point of being vague is, you don't want to speak on stuff that doesn't really exist yet. But also, I think if you can keep stuff vague, it keeps people from thinking it might not apply to them. I've heard uh, a lot of music that in its outward appearance might seem like it's not for me because it's not about something that I'm dealing with. But then you listen to it and you find that like there's broader themes of like, perseverance or finding your community or whatever, even though you're not dealing with the exact thing that the songwriter was on about. A lot of the things that got them through that thing can help you get you through your thing. So I really love that story about the farmer, and I've been sort of repeating it in my head a lot. And I love the idea of not approaching like other people's stuff with that attitude, but approaching my own stuff with like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Um, Unfortunately, I had to cancel 2 shows because I was so sick. There was just no way. And um, again, sort of repeating this fable to myself helped me get through that because I don't like canceling shows for so many reasons. One, playing songs for people is one of my favorite things, and not getting to do it when I already don't get to do it as much as I would like is a blow to morale for sure. 2, I feel bad leaving other people in the lurch, because you have this balancing act of like, I don't want to cancel too early because I might feel better by Friday or Saturday or whatever. But also, if I cancel too late, they can't replace me and fill the slot and that kind of thing. Fortunately, I work with venues and people that are very cool, and they just sent me well wishes and said they can't wait to see me again and get better soon, which was awesome. And then, of course, there's the thing that like the fully independent musician gets 0 paid sick days. So I had to deal with that, losing that amount of money and that kind of thing. And that was tough to sort of like not obsess about and worry about. But, for all I know, like, thankfully there wasn't, but maybe one day I cancel a show because I have the flu and that venue, has a gas leak and explodes or something. Or I would have just ended up playing to 2 people that hated me, and it would have been even worse for morale than a cancellation. Maybe I would have hit a deer. You don't know. And I find that like where money goes, money comes, and those kind of things sort of take care of themselves a little bit. So I try not to worry about it too much. But all that to say, that's what I've been thinking about while on the couch moaning. I also found out that there's some cool stuff happening in the Olympics. I've been watching the luge. The luge is fun. And the skeleton run is fun. And we've been watching snowboarding too. So that was good. And I got to, Tori is phenomenal at taking care of people and, getting to experience that. She's so good at it that like, I told her like, but for the fact that I was sick, this would have been like the greatest week of my life. I'm almost a little sad to see it kind of pass. But, I had my bad moments where it was very frustrating to feel that way for so long and not know what was going on and that kind of thing. But a lot of gratitude for her and for Ollie and for the fact that like, though it sucks and is not convenient to cancel shows, we're not going to like lose our house or anything. And that felt really good. And I'm just glad to be back on my feet, and I'm trying to keep repeating that to myself so I can hold on to it a little bit. Because that whole at least you have your health thing is cliched, but like, man, if you experience an injury where you can't walk, or if you're a songwriter who can't sing for a week, you do realize like what a gift that is. And I had a few days where like I couldn't really hear, I couldn't really talk, I couldn't really get up and move around. And, I'm still not sleeping very good. Just the gift that is a good night's rest. I'm trying to keep that in the front of my mind and be grateful for it. And when all that other stuff comes up, I'm trying to just look at it and go, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. In the meantime, let's have some coffee and then do some recommendations. Still stunningly hot coffee. All right, up first, this is a big one for me. This record is called That Much Further West. It's by a band called Lucero. This is like the big special deluxo version that has a whole second LP with live stuff and acoustic stuff and demos and that kind of thing. I love this record. I love this band, but this record is probably like a desert island pick for me. I adore this record. I can listen to it anytime, and I've been listening to it for almost 20 years now. Came out in like 2003. And they're like an alt country band. They're from Memphis. And I love them. I love this record especially. So check it out if you like. This is like the most interesting alt country record I've ever heard because it doesn't lean too heavily on a lot of like the stereotypes. You can tell they're just trying to make a good record. And I like that. And there's no fake yalls and hay bales and shit like that. Sorry. It's frustrating. Up next, we're going to stick in the alt country vein. This is something I was listening to a lot last week. This band is called Slobberbone. And this is their like best of record. It's called B's and C's, the best of Slobberbone. Cover design, lovingly done by Will Johnson, who we've talked about a lot. Slobberbone is from Texas, and they had 4 full-length records. And this, their greatest hits, collects 18 really, really good songs. They really only dealt in really, really good songs. And again, an alt country record made by a band that wasn't trying to be alt country. There's this thing about genres where when you're trying to get into it, it almost always ends up bad. Like, all the best emo bands don't want to be called emo bands, and some of the worst bands on the planet are like, we're an emo band. So, listen to Slobberbone. I've never said their name out loud that many times, so that's a fun feeling. This is the only one you can get on vinyl, as far as I know, but they're great. And if you get this lovely Will Johnson artwork, and a bunch of writings by Patterson Hood from the Drive-By Truckers. So listen to Slobberbone, why don't you? And listen to Lucero, and be grateful for what you have, and don't obsess about what you might get or lose, because even in the getting and losing, you don't know what the outcome of that is going to be. There you go. Put a nice little bow on it. This is going to be a short one, but I would like to think lean and mean. You know what I mean? Hot. That's it. I'm just going to wrap it up before I have a coffin fit. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for, just supporting me however you do, either supporting a podcast or listening to my music or coming to my shows or whatever. It feels really good to live the kind of life where you miss it when it gets taken away from you. That's another thing that I'm struck by, that like some people relish their sick days because at least I don't have to go into the office or into work or whatever. And I feel very fortunate to have the kind of life where when I have to miss it, I miss it. You know, I miss the drives and I miss the shows and I miss, there was a moment where I thought I probably wasn't going to do the podcast, but I didn't want people to worry that like I had COVID and I was in the hospital or something. But I would have missed the podcast and that kind of thing. So I'm thankful to have a life that I miss when it's gone, or elements of it are gone. You know, it's not like I died. And that's it. Listen to Lucero. That Much Further West. One of the best records in the world. I just love it. All right. We'll talk soon. Bye.